is open.
Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is, the firearm industry is alive and well. David and Gretchen will look at the latest thoughts on the possibility of a second civil war, an update on the Black Lives Matter movement, and the parents who are complaining about the fairness of their teen thugs being killed by a homeowner during a home invasion. Then we'll look at how illegal immigrants are going high-tech to avoid the law. And finally, do you often fly the airlines for business? You're going to want to hear this before your next trip. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
Today's Rant of the Week and more of David's work can be found at bearingarms.com. And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's David's Rant of the Week.
The report of my death was an exaggeration, Mark Twain wrote in 1897 in response to a newspaper publishing the humorous death. The same can be said for the state of the firearm industry in the United States. An article published in the March 20th Washington Free Beacon put the state of the industry in perspective. While business is lower than in the corresponding months during the record for 2013 and 2016 calendar years, it is still quite good on a historic basis. The floor has been raised after a decade-long, generally upward trend in sales. Let's face it, Barack Obama was the greatest gun salesman in history, and Hillary Clinton would surely have surpassed the Great Divider had she been elected 45th President of the United States. But she wasn't. Going into the 2016 election, paranoia ran rampant within the firearm community, causing people to buy up firearms and ammunition at an unprecedented rate. The fact is, Obama and Clinton were so good at selling their plan to disarm Americans that their anti-gun dogma became one of the most powerful forces for turning out the pro-Second Amendment conservative vote. Post-election, there was a collective sigh and pause within the industry. The media, never a friend of the Second Amendment, seized the opportunity to characterize the decline in background checks as a major downturn for the industry. CNN, for instance, touted, "Gun sales are stuck in a Trump slump." It was bolstered by Remington's layoffs and Gander Mountain filing for bankruptcy, but overall, there are clear signs that while market exuberance may have been exaggerated by fear of massive gun control schemes prior to the election, post-election John Q. Public's interest is still far better than even a few years ago. The National Instant Criminal Background Check System helps determine if a prospective firearm buyer's name and birth year match those of a person who is not eligible to buy a firearm. NICS represents a close approximation to gun sales. Comparing January and February statistics over a number of years tells the tale. January and February NICS checks for 2014 were 1.6 and 2.1 million respectively. 2015 was 1.8 and 1.9. 2016, 2.5 and 2.6, and 2017, 2.0 and 2.2. I think it's reasonable to assume once Trump was elected there was significant relief and the idea of a total gun confiscation program was taken off the table. As a result, gun sales dipped somewhat in February. NICS checks still hit over 2.2 million last month, representing about a 10% increase over January. Yet another good indicator of the health of the industry was evident in January at the 39th Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show owned and operated by the National Shooting Sports Foundation. The 65,000 upbeat buyers and sellers at this year's SHOT Show surpassed last year's attendance, making it the second most attended SHOT Show ever. Closer to home, as president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois, I'm seeing a stunning acceleration in the new member growth rate. ASC is a 268-acre, 2,000-plus member private shooting club that offers just about every pistol, rifle, and shotgun shooting event imaginable. We recruit and take in new members every month. In the first 2 months of 2015, we took in 59 new members. During the same time period in 2016, we admitted 73 new members. And the first 2 months of 2017, we took in 138. As always, the press does its best to cast a pallor over anything Second Amendment, but it's just more liberal fake news. Yes, there are some fluctuations within the industry, but overall, John Q. is as active as ever in shooting community for several good reasons. The fear of common sense gun control like Australia is behind us. We have a White House and Congress that has already demonstrated a very pro-Second Amendment agenda, and it's almost a slam dunk that we'll see the appointment of a strong Second Amendment Supreme Court justice. It won't stop the anti-Second Amendment cabal from making our lives as miserable as possible or prevent the press from distorting the truth about law-abiding firearm owners. But for the first time in 8 years, we're on a strong footing. And the media can just go stuff it. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
Well, I have two things to say about that. That was a rather bald-faced advertisement for the Aurora Sportsman's Club.
Oh, did you notice that?
I did.
Oh.
And the second thing is I can tell you in 2 words the reason why the February 2017 numbers were higher than January. Valentine's Day.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Have this box of ammunition.
Well, what'd you give me for my birthday last year?
Well, and there you go. So
10 boxes of ammunition. And a couple of PMags.
There may be a point there. Yeah. Well,
everybody likes to get guns and ammo for holidays.
Nothing says I love you like a weapon.
Like hollow points.
Yes. We're going to show's off to a good start. But that's true, though, is it not, Eric? I mean, we're growing like a weed.
It's truly amazing.
I don't, and you ask people why, and
it's just any number of different things.
I mean, it's not like there's one real solid thing, but
they're all coming out of the woodwork.
They are indeed. So I don't know. It's interesting that the way things are going. You saw this thing about the guy went out in the middle of the kind of crowd. The left has what would we call them? Warriors. I don't know.
A left-wing militia.
Yeah. It's
a left-wing activist group.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, maybe 30 guys, 40 people wandering around with ARs.
In Phoenix.
They weren't really impressive.
Let's clarify. This is not here. This is Phoenix.
Phoenix. Oh yeah. This wasn't here. Yeah, we don't. Our liberals here are too busy, shopping with what the cards they get, link cards and stuff. Yeah. No, this was Arizona, where probably everybody owns a gun in Arizona. Even liberals probably do. They just don't talk about it.
My sister's a pacifist. There's tons of guns in her house.
That's it. That's exactly right. It's
they're not her guns, but
Yeah.
Splitting hairs.
It's just interesting because there was talk, particularly under Obama, about literally a civil war breaking out. I mean, he fomented. You know,
He did everything he could.
and was pretty effective.
He was very good at it.
Yeah, and so now we're living with it.
Yeah, let me be clear. He was very good at it.
He was indeed. Give us a call, 815-205-1584. 815-205-1584. Weigh in on it. Do you think there's going to be a second revolution in the United States? This band of people, these merry liberals carrying ARs and things, and all the students that we've had, there have been one or two that we've questioned. Wouldn't you say that just from things they said in class, you kind of thought,
That they might be liberal?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few that stuck out in my mind, yeah.
We've done well over 1,000 students in the past couple of years.
Just concealed carry.
Yeah,
yes.
just concealed carry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sort of percentage. I mean, it's minuscule.
Yeah. Could probably count them on one hand.
Yeah. I just go back to what I've said all along. These people are going, it'll be a civil war.
Although in our classes, in fairness, let's say, in our classes, it is mostly conservatives. And I don't know about you, I'm pretty careful not to say what I am. But you kind of get a vibe in the room that's a more conservative vibe. So if anybody was more of a lefty, they probably wouldn't want to let on.
Have you ever known a liberal that didn't talk? They're always self-righteous.
Let me think about that. You're probably right.
They're always self-righteous.
You're probably right.
And that's the interest.
They like to proselytize.
Exactly. That's an interesting thing too. By the way, now that you bring it up,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with anybody unless they get into politics. Then we have opinions. But I don't care if somebody's a liberal. I've told I have friends who are gay. I have all kinds of friends. It doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. But it always bothers them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It always bothers them. They can't just take you for who you are.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about that when we return, and we got a couple of the good things in that whole rebellion thing coming up. So all that and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's myeditor@mail.com, or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
Well, we got a call this evening, and it's our friend from Berwyn is giving us a call, and I'm going to hit that if it kills me. We need bigger letters on this thing. Hi there, can you hear me? There he is. How you doing this evening?
Greetings, Dave and Gretchen. Doing well. The reason I called was I wanted to give you and the listeners an update on the status of two pieces of legislation in Congress, the Hearing Protection Act and the ATF Elimination Act.
Okay.
Now, I called Congressman Sensenbrenner's office in Washington on Friday, and we had a very nice chat with the person I spoke with, and I asked him what's the status of the ATF Elimination Act, and he said, well, it's been referred to the subcommittee on crime, terrorism, homeland security investigations. He said, and there's a process, I guess. This stuff doesn't happen very quickly. He said, but it is, quote, in motion. I'm not too optimistic about this bill. By the way, it's a House Bill 509 because there's no co-sponsors, not one. It's so far.
I think there's a story in that.
Yeah, and so there's, but at least it hasn't been tabled yet. Now, to me, the one that's got a good chance here is the Hearing Protection Act of 2017. It's House Bill 367, and its companion bill is Senate Bill 59. And I called Congressman Duncan, of South Carolina, his office, and we talked for a while. And he said, yes, it's been also referred to the same subcommittee on crime, terrorism, and they're doing what they got to do. They got to read it and do all this other stuff. But it has 130 co-sponsors in the House, and it has 12 co-sponsors in the Senate. I think there's going to be a battle, and I talked about, I brought up the subject about this one left-wing Democrat senator from New York that replaced Hillary, how she came out publicly and said, well, she's going to do everything she can to block this. And I thought, okay, she's getting her 15 minutes of fame because she has done nothing in the 6 years that she's been in the Senate. But I just wanted to give you all a heads up. These two bills are still working. We got more of a chance on the Hearing Protection Act than the ATF Elimination Act. And if you want, and the one person I spoke with said, if you want to keep tabs on these bills without constantly going to the website, you can go to congress.gov, and then you type in either the bill number or just the words of the title, and you can sign up to get email alerts when the status of the bills change. Whatever bill it is. Yeah. Yep. You can get this.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in and giving us an update. I appreciate it. And that's that. With this, and we're working on the silencer bill here in Illinois. Actually, I haven't talked to Todd lately. I haven't talked to Todd. I'm not quite sure what the status of the silencer bill is. I see. Why am I saying silencer? Now I'm doing suppressor. But they are working on it in Springfield too. And as I've said in the past, it's ironic that Europe, which is very anti-gun, if you hunt in Europe, you're required to use a suppressor. And Illinois, they're fighting it. It's it's the TV thing about that thing.
Right. Well, that's the thing. People call them silencers, so people think that they're non-gun. People think that they actually make the gun silent, and
they don't.
Make it so that you can assassinate someone without anyone knowing. No, a knife is still the only way to do that.
Yeah, baseball bat. Baseball bat works. Here's an interesting little piece that I picked up on. 3 teenagers, 16, 17, and 18, wearing masks and gloves. Okay, that's a good start. One had a knife, one had brass knuckles. And they do a home invasion. It was like midnight or so, something like that. And guess what? The 23-year-old son of the guy who owns the house happened to have an AR-15 and met them. When he heard them breaking in downstairs, went down with an AR. An interesting sentence in this says, there was a short exchange of words, then gunfire happened. And they are no longer with us.
Yeah, the sheriff's office said 3 people are deceased.
Are deceased. That's the short, not a lot of pith there.
Pretty succinct.
It's pretty succinct, yeah.
Pretty succinct.
So now the father of one of the 17-year-olds, he said that it was not fair, that his boy was only armed with brass knuckles while the homeowner's son shot him with an AR-15. They had a knife, they had brass knuckles, they were masked, gloved, broke in the middle of the night.
Right.
You know what? I'm not even sorry.
No, not really. And, the other thing, too, I tell people in class this all the time. So much depends on what state you're in.
True enough.
When you shoot somebody who's coming into your home illegally, what will happen to you depends so much on what state you're in. And this is Oklahoma. You can't do this kind of crap in Oklahoma. We don't think as much about Oklahoma as we do Texas, but I would say Oklahoma's probably even farther to the, castle doctrine end of the spectrum. I mean, I know Colorado's got pretty strong castle doctrine, but Oklahoma, yeah, you don't F around in Oklahoma.
Well, the problem with Oklahoma is it about every 6 weeks blows away in a tornado, and so they got to just grasp onto something that they can hang on to, and self-defense apparently is a big thing to hang on to. Especially when your roof gets ripped off and you want to protect your stuff.
Well,
it's
especially when your stuff is guns.
Yeah. You ever been to Oklahoma?
I have driven through a couple of times. It's kind of a godforsaken place.
I wasn't going to go quite that extreme on my commentary, but admittedly, Oklahoma is flat and dry. And I can see why they call it Tornado Alley, because there's nothing to slow a tornado down.
Yes. My mom is complaining that her computer keeps shutting itself down. It has done it like 3 times tonight. I said it's the NSA.
Probably
because she's trying to watch on Target Radio.
Tell her to go to her microwave oven. That'll probably.
That's right. Yeah. Go talk to the microwave and tell it to stop.
That really isn't funny.
No, it's not.
It's kind of scary. I went into the freezer last night to get some ice cream, and it said, "Shut the door, fatso." I mean, and it was. I didn't recognize the voice. I
would think that they would be like, "Really?"
Yeah.
That's what. If I were working for the NSA, that's what I would say. The only other thing that I think is ironic about this home invasion story is that neighbors have said that they told the police there have been multiple burglaries in their neighborhood over the past few weeks and months. And so that's another thing supporting this guy defending himself in his home is, if there's a rash of burglaries, you don't know who it is. You don't know what's going to happen. And, somebody's in your house.
If you don't want to do the time, don't commit the crime, except it's kind of a long time.
It's not really time.
Yeah. Give us a call, 815-205-1584, 815-205-1584. I have no pity on people that do that. It's just tough luck. One of the more interesting stories that I've come across, I used to teach. I taught high school and I taught college for years. Is the President Obama's program.
It was a Department of Education initiative.
It was Arnie, and who was running it? Arnie Duncan.
Because the Chicago public schools were run so well.
Exactly.
We're going to give him a huge promotion up to Secretary of Education. That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Let's take what you do in Chicago and move it nationwide. That'll really, So that man is bad. But the numbers are not good. Black junior high and black junior high school and high school students are suspended at a rate of more than 3 times as often as their white peers, twice as often as Latinos, and more than 10 times as often as Asians. Asians take education seriously.
Yeah, Asians, Tiger Mom's going,
yeah,
talk back.
That's right. They come to this country and they take it seriously.
They're serious,
They take it seriously. Anyway, according to Arnie Duncan, who used to be the Department of Education Secretary, he says the huge disparity is not caused by differences in children. It's caused by differences in training, professional development, and discipline policies. It is adult behavior that needs to change, not the kids.
Okay.
Do you have thoughts on that?
I do. The only part of what he said that's true is it is adult behavior that needs to change.
That
the
is
parents of these little shits need to train their kids to act right.
Yeah.
They need to respect authority. That's why all this stuff is happening. That's why Black Lives Matter even exists. That's why they have these problems in schools with primarily black students. Their parents don't teach them to respect authority. Yep. I was taught that when I was growing up. You were taught that when you were growing up. And have I ever been in jail? Have you ever been in jail? No.
Well, there was that stretch. Never mind. But, well, and that's it. And these people out rioting and doing stuff in the streets, they're never held accountable.
No.
Nobody holds them accountable for it.
That whole rash of things that happened after the incident in Ferguson with the police officer shooting that black male. Everything that happened, the videos coming out of one of my favorites / not favorites is the police officer trying to arrest the teenage girl at the pool party.
Oh, that was a beautiful one.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
It is such a good example of what is wrong with the young people.
Yep.
And, it's like, okay, last time I checked, resisting arrest was illegal in every state. Okay? If a police officer tells you, put your hands behind your back, I'm going to handcuff you, you have to let them do it.
That's absolutely the law. You can always turn around and sue them civilly later.
Right, exactly.
But you have to do what they tell them.
Right, you have to do what they're telling you to do.
When we come back, I want to just read how that new discipline worked out for them. It's going to be...
Sorry, it'll
be very interesting.
Got off in the weeds a little bit.
We'll be back with that and more. Give us a call, 815-205-1584, and we'll be back after these messages with more on Target Radio. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week, with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So this great program that they implemented in the school system, where this is what they would do. The new discipline imposed on public schools is called restorative justice. Okay, instead of just locking the little boogers up, right? And here's how it works.
Well, actually, it was suspensions rather than suspending them.
Well, I'm perhaps being glib.
A little hyperbole, but for clarity.
For clarity. It wasn't, they weren't going to lock them up anyway.
They're not
Well,
really,
but actually
they're not
that's
going to jail.
that's not necessarily true, because some of the stuff they do, they could be locked up for.
Well, some of them they should be, yeah.
Anyway, rather than punish a student through exclusion, suspension, restorative justice encourages the student who has misbehaved, this is hard to say straight, who has misbehaved to reflect on his behavior. First of all, they don't even know what the word reflect means.
I don't think so.
Okay?
Yeah.
Reflect on his behavior, take responsibility, and resolve to behave better in the future. Now, the results. Because what could go wrong with that, really? You know?
Yeah.
That's like Nancy Pelosi saying, if everybody just lays their gun down, the bad guy will lay the gun down because that's a natural thing.
Wasn't that Feinstein?
Or Feinstein. But in point of fact, for some liberal calls screaming, it turns out that's been debunked. She didn't actually. It was one of her aides had said something like that. But yeah.
Gosh darn it.
See, we try and be honest.
Well, they actually do that in some schools around here. A school my
Restorative justice?
Yeah, a school my mother worked at, they had a what they call PANS room, which was stood for planning a new start.
Yeah.
So if, the child was misbehaving to the point where they need to be removed from the classroom, they would go to the PANS room and reflect on what they've done and come up with a way to not do that again.
So no. See, this is how it really works. It's like time out so they can plan better. Okay,
Yeah.
I was going to punch him, but I can get a baseball
I was
bat. I
going to
didn't think
say,
of that.
it just sounds like timeout to me.
So anyway, the results of this new policy are increased violence, drug use, and gang activity. It says it doesn't work. In Oklahoma City, students are yelling, cursing, hitting, screaming at teachers, and nothing has been done. They know nothing will be done. That's the key issue here.
Right.
Some teacher was kicked in the head by a student in Buffalo. Says, we have fights here almost every day. The kids walk around and say, we can't get suspended. We don't care what you say.
So this guy from the Manhattan Institute wrote a report, and he surveyed some teachers in various cities that have done this. And in New York City, violence increased in 50% of the schools and decreased in 14% of the schools. So it did work, but only in 14% of the cases. Gang activity increased in 39% of the schools and decreased in 11% of the schools. Something tells me they're just not being honest with themselves. And the ones that say it actually decreased.
And I would say too, though, that there are kids who act up, and if you correct them, they do respond to it. Yeah, I mean, some people do that.
Work.
So I can see where some percentage would respond to it, but the overwhelming majority, it doesn't.
Well, and like what Eric's saying with the PANS room, separating them so they have time to reflect. I don't really think like giving them an extra study hall is the answer. If they're being violent against teachers, they have to go. I mean, they can't be allowed to get away with that. That's just, that's assault, and it interferes with the educational process so that the good kids also can't learn.
I'm a living example of how being on suspension really has no effect. I wasn't like a bad kid, but I was like the clown. I was a cut up.
Mm-hmm.
I was always disrupting class and making people laugh, and they go, "You got 3 nights of suspension." We called it detention. You have 3 nights of detention.
Well, detention is in school. Suspension is kicked out of school.
It's out of school.
Yeah, so it's not quite the same
Yeah, I
thing.
never got kicked out of school.
Except when you really got kicked out of school.
Well, that was different. There's kicked out of school, and then there's kicked out of school. Yeah. The reason we're laughing about that is I was in the first class the first class into an all-boys Catholic high school. And at the end of sophomore year, I had the distinguished career of being the first person in the history of that high school to flunk out.
Booted out.
Yes, exactly. It's, you know. And then I went to Oak Park High, where by osmosis you pick stuff up. I didn't study. It just comes to, Hemingway just rises through the chair, and just permeates your
It's in
body.
the walls.
What can you do? And ever since then, I've had thoughts of shotguns and shooting them. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. And then we have the Black Lives Matter one, which I found rather intriguing, because it turns out there is at least one university president who has a set.
There's one rational person.
Yeah. Black Lives Matter students swamped the office at the College of William and Mary in Virginia. And the president there is W. Taylor Reveley. That's interesting. The third. And they were making all these demands. And his response to that, I don't deal in demands. I love that. I don't deal in demands. He said, I don't make demands of other people. I don't expect to receive demands from people. I love to get suggestions, recommendations, strong arguments. When you approach other people with demand, instead of their ears opening and their spirit being unusually receptive, you get defensive, walls erected. So I think you all need to think about it. I don't think anybody's ever said that to them.
No. Clearly not.
They didn't take it well.
One student said, "We've tried to be nice. It's not working. So if you don't want to have issues on this campus that are affecting students of color, then you have to listen to students of color when they tell you that this needs to happen."
No, we don't. So here's the interesting thing. To show you how that they have this perverted sense of, and have you ever thought about this? They always talk about white entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to
White
talk
privilege.
about, if you want to talk about privilege or entitlement, this is it.
This is
These
the
people
essence of
think
it.
they've got it. Exactly. Here's what one of them said to this president. He said, "We are students and we pay tuition to be here. That's the reason why we're able to write these demands." Let me just clarify something. As a guy who was originally turned down by the University of Illinois and then got in because my senator got me in, but I lived up to it, that's not how it works. You don't pay money and get to go. They decide if they want you to go, and then you pay what it costs to attend.
Mm-hmm.
That's two
They
sides.
graciously take your money.
Exactly. That's two sides of the same
Well, not
coin.
only that, but okay, say a school has 10,000 students. It simply doesn't work for all 10,000 students to be like, well, we pay tuition when these are my demands.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't run a community that way of any type.
But that's the mindset that these people have today, that somehow or another their opinion is more important than anybody else's.
Well, I think all young people,
Not to that level,
of that
though.
age, 18 to 22, hubris is one of the hallmarks of that
That's true.
age group.
That is true.
So, if I say these people, I would say in some part, simply referring to young people who are immature and entitled, and especially William and Mary. I mean, that's probably a private school. It probably costs like $50,000 a year to go
easy.
there. So these are not, poor black inner city.
They could be on
People,
scholarships.
most likely. These are privileged.
Yeah.
These are privileged kids, probably for the most part. So yeah, I would say part of the problem is just simply they're millennials and they're in that age range where they have very little life experience and they know
But they
everything.
know everything.
Yeah.
But and that's true, and that's part of maturation. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
a newborn infant is totally inward.
Oh, yeah.
The entire world is me. That's
Oh,
all
yeah,
that matters.
absolutely.
And as one gets older, you learn that you have to live in a world. So that is normal. But what's not normal, when I went to college, there was sort of this going on with the anti-war movement.
Right,
That
and that's
was
what I'm
going on.
saying is in any era that
Yeah.
you can name, there's something going on college
Yeah.
campuses because college kids are just full of themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And they think the world revolves around
But
them.
these people are more dangerous. They believe that they can do things that really are dangerous. They threaten people. They burn buildings. If a speaker is going to come on campus, they trash the town. You know, that sort of thing didn't used to happen. There was some certainly, but it wasn't like it is now. It wasn't giant mobs of people roaming streets and burning police cars and stuff.
But I think we've also seen the proof that some of this is paid protesters. I mean, this is not all just entitled college students. I mean, some of these are actually full-grown adults that are being paid to go and foment violence.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about this. Last night, actually, I went to one of the deputies retired, and a really nice guy, and so I stopped at his place after I got totally destroyed at your place, hacking down trees. I was like crippled all night. But
you make it sound like you were drinking at my house. You were not drinking.
No, I was taking in the grandeur of the trees.
That's right.
And
We
a
were
new chainsaw.
enjoying nature
And a new
by
chainsaw.
killing it.
That's right.
Well, actually, most of it was already dead.
But this sort of subject actually came up last night because it's a house full of cops, and somebody said exactly what we have said before about the rioting. They go, "Where the hell's the fire department?" Because that's very effective. You hose them down, and particularly on a cold night.
Yeah.
On cold nights, you hose them down, they're going home.
That's not cool.
You're going to break that riot up real quick.
Yeah.
And having been hit by a fire hose intentionally, because we were goofing off, but we were just goofing around. You ever been hit by a fire hose?
I have not.
Oh, my God. It's like being hit by a car. I mean, you think it's water. Well, how bad can it be? It just knocks you right off your feet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
So I became a very big advocate of, not on me, but using fire hoses on other people. I think, it's not as bad as being tased.
No.
Okay, how many guys want to check out on the taser? Do we have to get tased? Yeah. No.
It's probably, would you say it's better or worse than like tear gas?
Taser?
No, fire hose.
Well, tear gas isn't really bad. OC spray, on the other hand,
right.
is.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
I've been pepper sprayed. I know what that's
like.
like.
Nasty stuff.
See, you're going to hurt for a lot longer with pepper spray.
Oh, yeah. And it's not water soluble. You got to use a chemical to get off.
Right, yeah. It's problematic.
It's problematic.
I know some. When we got pepper sprayed in police academy, I know people who just threw their dickies away.
Oh yeah, it's
they didn't even try to wash them.
It's nasty stuff. All right, when we come back, we're going to finish up real quick with the illegal immigrant thing. Got one more thing to tell you about that, and we're going to talk about if you fly, you're going to want to hear what's coming up. All that and more when we return and wrap it up with On Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Don't forget, Illinois Gun Owners Lobby Day is Wednesday, April 5th in Springfield. Meet at 11:30 a.m. at the Prairie Capitol Convention Center in downtown Springfield. I put the schedule on our Facebook page earlier this week. From the ISRA, the Senate deadline for bills has been extended. This is not surprising. In past years, we have seen it extended to May 31st and beyond. This means that we need to be on guard all the time. There are really dangerous bills out there. HB 2354, which is the Lethal Order of Protection, is on its third reading in the House. Two other bad bills are Senate Bill 1657, which deals with gun dealer licensing, and Senate Bill 1985, ammunition lead ban, which is there for only one reason, to make things tough for law-abiding gun owners. Stop bouncing the table. Also watch out for Senate Bill 1291, which is a look-alike bill to House Bill 2354. If you have not already contacted your Illinois legislators about your opposition to these bills, please take the time to do so. It is going to be a busy spring session for our lobbyists in Springfield. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, April 8th and 9th. Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Thursday and Friday, April 13th and 14th, NRA Shotgun Instructor taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, April 22nd and 23rd, NRA Pistol Instructor taught by David. Saturday, April 29th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2 taught by David. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
How did you know I was bouncing the table?
Because the whole table was bouncing. I could see you doing it.
It's just a table.
Yeah, but I'm like trying to read. You're distracting me and make my papers bounce.
So are you telling me that you can't read on an airplane? Speaking of airplanes, is that a segue or what?
Fantastic.
Is that not a good
was
segue?
good.
Amazing.
And that's just, that's 2 years at Second City. It just comes out of me, right? It's like sweat. It just pours out.
Every day was worth it. Every moment.
So with that segue, if you travel by airline, this actually is not funny. Our foes at ISIS and Al-Qaeda are now putting together bombs that fit in things like laptop computers. Mm-hmm. So the feds, FAA, and Homeland Security have put a ban on anything bigger than basically a cell phone. Now, that's not for U.S. domestic. Okay, these are flights, and there's a list of them. If you Google it online, you come up. I'll just tell you real quickly. But basically, these are flights that are coming out typically of the Middle East, either into the U.S. or into London. So the countries, flights coming out of Cairo, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Istanbul, Doha, Qatar, Amman, Jordan, Kuwait City, Casablanca, Morocco, Jeddah, and Riyadh. Any flights that come out of there into the U.S., you got nothing bigger than a cell phone. UK flights, I won't cover those. You can look them up if you want to. The airlines that are directly affected that are flying to the United States now from these areas: Egypt Air, Emirates Airline, Etihad, Kuwait, Qatar, Royal Air Morocco, Royal Jordanian Airlines, Saudi Arabian, and Turkish Airlines. No U.S. airline flies from the airports in question to the U.S. So if you're flying a flag carrier, U.S. carrier, you don't have to worry about it. So, and the reason I want to cover this, because the rumor that got out is you can't get on an airplane with anything bigger than a cell phone, and that's not true. It's specifically out of those countries. One of the things I just was going to mention real quickly is an illegal immigrant has developed an app for your smartphone, and basically what you can do is pre-program that puppy, and it will send out. You can pre-program up to 15 SMS text messages. Pre-program it, hit the button, they all go out. However you want to send them, do whatever. To your lawyer, your bail bondsman, I don't care what. But whenever they get into trouble, they can send out. They can send out SMS to people to say,
picked up by ICE or something.
Exactly. Don't come into this area because there's, they're here. Rather than actually trying to be a citizen and right. We don't want to do that. And this is the part that really ticks me off. Really, when this came out, there was a CNN headline that said it suggested that this is a must-have app for undocumented immigrants. CNN is advertising it. I mean,
must have. It's right up there with iTunes.
Can you even believe that?
It's right up there with AccuWeather.
I just have a hard time. And I do want to talk.
It's really disgusting.
I want to talk about our studio here in a minute. But one last thing I want to talk about is major issue to me. Rahm Emanuel, who I never had a lot of love for Rahm Emanuel. So, as we know, Trump has threatened, and I think it's going to be more than a threat, that if you're a sanctuary city, he's going to cut off federal funding. Rahm Emanuel, to make sure that things are going to go just swimmingly afterwards, is developing an ID card for illegal aliens.
Yes.
Okay, so that they will have an ID card. What's it going to say, like illegal alien on it? I don't know what it's going to say. But here's the best part. It's going to have their name and date of birth and nothing else. No address, nothing else, just name, date of birth. And they can self-designate the gender that they want to put on the card. What could be wrong with that as an ID card? I can't imagine.
Well, I had heard this the other day. It's a municipal ID card. It's not just for undocumented people. It's also for people with disabilities and homeless, which, especially the disability thing, that makes a lot of sense. That if you get pulled over, like say a traffic stop, or you're having some kind of an interaction with the police, it would help the police understand possibly why you're acting the way you're acting. If you have some sort of a behavior disorder or some sort of a medical condition or something like that, your behavior could be explained by something.
By an ID card that doesn't actually identify who you are.
No, this is something that they've been talking about also for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
So it could say, I have schizophrenia. So that's why I'm acting like...
And I think I'm a girl.
Right. That's why I'm acting like a jerk, because...
Now, let me just ask this question. Okay, so I will stipulate that makes sense, which I really don't think it does, but I'm going to stipulate it makes sense. Isn't that racist? Isn't that sexist? Isn't that something? It's racist. If you have to have that, but you don't need one to vote, it's racist if you do it for voting.
Oh, yeah, no question.
How is this not? This doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's also voluntary. So
so is not having an ID card.
So if they
That's
if they
voluntary.
don't want it, then they don't have to have it. But like I'm saying, I think for some people who have issues that are not immediately apparent,
like
to people,
sanity,
that it could be helpful for law enforcement and other types of interactions.
So I could get one of those cards, and it could say I'm a female.
Okay.
And then, go to my local high school cheerleader, my college cheerleader's locker room and go, I'm female, I'm coming in?
Except that you don't have any reason to be in any locker room at a high school.
None of these people have a reason to do what they're doing, but they get away with it anyway.
I wouldn't say it. Like, if you're in a public restroom, you have a reason to be in a public restroom, is you have to pee.
I'm saying generically, none of these people have a reason to do what they do. Out riding, burning, doing all the stuff that they do.
I don't think that's going to be excused by simply having a municipal ID card.
Then I don't see an excuse why they shouldn't have one to vote.
Oh, no, I don't either. I won't defend that because I do think you should have to show ID to vote.
On to the next subject. So anyway,
that was simple.
That was real quick, wasn't it? I just sort of put this out to our 12,000 listeners that we don't have anymore. I'm just going to put this out. So we actually found a location that would be a good place to put a studio, and now we actually have to get serious about trying to find some sponsors. At $25 for a 60-second spot a week, it's pretty cheap. Admittedly, we don't exactly have a large audience at the moment, but for $25 a week, if we can get a few sponsors, we can actually have a studio, and then we can go to town and start offering programs to other people who might like to have a show, which is very cheap to do on the internet. So if you are listening this evening, like your mother, if she wants to advertise for $25 a week, we're going to start actually seriously looking at doing this now. We found a nice spot. I think it would be a good place to set up.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. So we're making progress. I want to get out of my dining room. You know, every time the show starts, I get hungry. It's like, well, you feed me, too.
I was going to say, it shouldn't be a problem because I bring cake.
That's true, you do.
Cookies and all sorts of things.
We had cake tonight. It was very nice.
It was good cake.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the cake.
Yeah, so we're going to put together probably some marketing tools. But if you have any interest in advertising a business, it's inexpensive. And if you have any interest in having your own show, that's what we will start to offer people. You'll be able to have your own show for pretty darn cheap.
It will also be inexpensive.
That's right.
And we have a ton of equipment invested here, so you don't have to buy your own equipment.
We have the equipment. We got the expertise. Well, expertise. Maybe that's overstating it. We have
Eric's
experience.
really good, but we
just
he doesn't
punt.
necessarily come with the package.
Yeah, we punt. Anyway, so that's kind of coming on stream, and things are going pretty well, all things considered.
All things considered.
Yeah, we're doing okay. We actually had a second caller who gave up in disgust and hung up. I don't know.
So I had an interesting thing happen to me last week. Would you like to hear a little story?
You have 1 minute and 17 seconds.
That's perfect. It's a really little story. So I got a phone call last Wednesday from a number I didn't recognize on my cell phone, and but it was a local area code, so I answered it. And a youngish sounding man said he was looking for Mayor Claire's campaign. The mayor of Bolingbrook is running for re-election.
Right.
And someone had given him my phone number.
For Roger Claire?
Yeah. And I simply said, I know who Roger Claire is, but we're not pals. And so I simply said, I have no connection to his campaign, and I don't know why they told you that I did. So he said, oh, okay, and hung up. But this campaign for mayor of Bolingbrook is getting so dirty.
Really?
That, yeah, the Jackie Trainier campaign is sending spies to his campaign headquarters.
I saw that.
And things like that. So I think maybe I'm on the county board with Jackie Trainier. She has my phone number. I think that somebody from her campaign gave this person my phone number and said, call her up and just see what she says. See if she, gives anything.
Well, it could very well be these days. You never know. All right. We basically come to the bitter end. Thanks for listening.
We'd also like to thank our engineer, Eric, and our sponsors, Yellow Checker of Joliet, my editor, Creative Business Services, the Will County Grassroots Division of the ISRA, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.